I just want to stay up here.
But with the infection this close to your brain, we must stop now. I'm sorry.
I'm not. I'll never walk again. But I got to fly.
Remember when you were new students to my 9th grade class a few weeks ago? Well, we have a new student joining us today, Finn. So I expect you to welcome him the same way I welcomed you. All right? Take any seat you like.
Rob.
I'm sorry.
What is it?
I just have a lot on my mind.
You can tell me anything. You know that.
I know that. Everything's fine. Let's just enjoy the show, huh?
Have a good day, sir.
Excuse me.
Yes?
I just wanted to say, I think you're really sweet.
Come back anytime.
I will.
It was nice meeting you.
What did you say your name was again?
I didn't. It's Pamela.
Hi,
Pam.
Pamela. I'm Rob.
Hi.
Well, it's such a beautiful place.
Thanks.
So why is there a vacancy?
My roommate is moving to New York.
Well, I don't know why she would with you as a roommate. Hey, you just wanna...
Get a place together?
Yeah.
Welcome to Meet the Biz. Today we have, every time I see this guy, his smile is like, you know, it makes you light up when you like see him. It makes you want to like go up to him and say, hi, do I know you? But I do know him. He has this fresh face. He's funny. He can be serious. He's like so versatile as an actor, and he's an incredible actor. And I mean, he's just at the start of a really wonderful career. Mr. Danny Gomez.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
You're making me blush over here, man.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, look at that face. Magic. How are you?
Good. You can't tell, but I'm hiding a bunch of quarantine hair down here.
Oh, are you? You've got hair. I
Look at
love
this.
it. See, I've sort of slicked mine back. I could put mine in a ponytail now.
Yeah, I almost got that. I got this little. I got to get rid of all this back here.
Oh yeah.
Turn into a mini mullet.
I love it. Mine's gray, of course, and yours is.
I like it.
Yeah.
I'll be salt and pepper one day, but like my dad.
Yeah. Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. So, what area were you born? I know I read you were in Louisiana, right?
Yes, I was born in New Orleans. My family moved to New Jersey when I was like 2. I lived there for 8 years, and then we went back to New Orleans when I was 10.
Why did you go back?
Why or when?
Why?
I don't know. My parents moved around a lot when we were kids. I still, it's a mystery, but it caused for a lot of anxiety. Like, I was always the new kid. We moved around a lot, so I had a lot of social anxiety. And then picture going from New Jersey at 10 years old to New Orleans, it was like complete culture shock.
Oh yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So it was tough. I mean, I had a loving family, but it was kind of tough growing up with all the moving.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I love New Orleans, but my brother lived there for 2 years in Slidell.
Slidell, yes.
Yeah.
I actually lived close to Slidell. We grew up in St. Bernard.
Ah,
Yeah, St. Bernard Parish.
nice. And then when did you move to LA?
I moved to LA in '05 when Katrina hit. We lost the house.
Ugh.
It was like underwater for whatever, a month or two, and
Sorry.
I just shot like a independent film right before Katrina hit. So when I got back, I was home 3 days and Katrina hit, and we, cell phones, nothing was working. But while I was on set before the hurricane, we were talking about moving to LA and doing all that, me and my castmates. So when our cell phones finally turned on, like a month later, the first call I get is from my castmate, Ashley, and she's like, "We're moving to LA." And I was like, done.
Done.
So like a few days later, I packed up. I was in Florida at the time, packed up, and we drove out west.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. Now, did your family do that too, or did they stay there for a while?
No, my mom and my sister stayed in Florida, in Orlando.
Oh,
My dad went back to New Orleans, and everybody kind of just split up.
yeah.
But then, it was tough to leave the family, but I needed to do it. I guess it was the right time. But
Yeah.
as soon as I got to LA, then LA went to New Orleans, started making movies there.
Right.
And it became known as Hollywood South for a little bit. And all my friends that I was in acting class with started, being featured in big shows and films. And I'm in LA struggling. Such
Yeah.
is life, though, right?
Such is life, but there was a reason you moved here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And that was 05.
Yep.
And then what do you think the thing that just clicked for you? As I understand it, was the Disability Film Challenge?
Yeah, I mean, that before my accident, I pretty much gave up. Like, I'm ashamed to admit that, but I was like,
Before
I
your
was-
accident,
before my accident, yeah.
you almost gave up.
I almost gave up acting. I was like, I had like no confidence in myself and my talent. I was pretty lost, and I didn't know where my path was taking me. I was in the service industry, and I was moving up in those ranks.
Yeah.
And now I'd probably like be running my own club or bar or something, making good money, but not exactly what I came here to do.
Yeah.
So, after the accident, it was, I rarely tell a story because the film challenge really opened all the doors. But the thing that got me back into acting, a friend of mine, Christina Auday, she has like this agency called Star Touch.
Yeah.
And they do body part. It's like a body part agency, like hands, necklines, feet, and stuff like that. And she just happened to see a casting for an Apple commercial, and she submitted me with an Instagram photo that I had.
Right.
And she called me. She's like, "Hey, do you want to audition for this? They're looking for somebody in a wheelchair." And this is right before the film challenge. I was like, "You know what? Let's do it. Like, what do I have to lose?"
Right.
And I went in there with that attitude. I was just like, "What's up?" And I did my thing. I was like, I almost died. Like, you don't scare me. I booked that, and I was on set shooting this commercial. And while I was sitting there, I'm like, man, I miss this feeling of being on set.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to give this one more shot and see how it goes. And then the next call after that the next text was that random text that I received. Everybody knows that story now. And then, that's what happened. The film challenge happened, and we won, and now I'm here.
I love it. I love it. Well, it shows about persistence,
Persistence and knowing when to walk through that door when it's open. Really important. What you say yes to. And at that time, I had this thing. I was like, saying yes to everything was like my mantra. Because after my accident, I was saying no to. I was so closed off from the world. I was scared to go outside. So when I made that decision to start saying yes to new opportunities and new experiences, that's when the whole world started opening up to me.
Right.
But then,
Now- Oh, yeah.
go ahead. Sorry.
No. Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh no, somebody taught me a valuable lesson though, because I was talking about that. I was doing my first public speaking thing at this business seminar, and I was talking to them about saying yes. And then this other successful, like rich guy was like, it's great and all to start saying yes, but at one point you're gonna have to start to, you have to learn when to start saying no.
Mm.
And like that really sunk in, because at a certain point, people were asking me to like, you know, be their ambassador for this clothing line, or like pretty much doing free work.
Yeah.
Which in the beginning it was fine because I was building towards something. But now there's like so many things that are coming that I have to learn when to say no, when to say yes.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, we only get so much time, huh? It's like, you know, I've got to ask about this just because you brought it up several times. Now, you moved to LA in 05, and when did your accident happen?
Man, my accident, I moved here in 05. My accident happened in 2016. So I'm like, wow, that's a long time. So I was in LA for a while.
Right.
And when I first got to LA, I started off strong. It was like, I told myself, I'm not going back into the service industry. I was doing odd jobs, you know, estate sales. I was like doing Craigslist jobs. You know, I have like some horror stories of Craigslist jobs. Oh God.
Oh my God.
But yeah, like I was going on auditions and I was, you know, booking little student projects here and there. And then when the financial struggle came in and I had to get a restaurant job, that's when I got lost in that service industry of LA, because I was making a lot of money.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, it's 14 years later and like I haven't done anything, you know?
I tell you, I was waiting tables for 11 years, and finally I said, that's it, no more.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so I had to jump in and just do these different jobs. And I've got to go back to what you said, Craigslist. If you can tell us one of your horror stories, and only for the learning experience that you've got to be careful, people,
Yeah.
about Craigslist. So if you want to tell one of your Craigslist.
This guy was like, I'm a young guy, I live in like kind of East LA, Echo Park area.
Yeah.
He's like, I live in this big house by myself. I just need somebody to help me clean. And I'm like, well, that sounds fair enough, you know, easy enough for the young guy my age. So I get there and it looks like the house from American Horror Story season 1. So I'm like, and I get in there and it's like a movie set, horror movie. I mean, there was stuff everywhere. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, where do I start? So I asked him, I was like, oh, where do you want me to start? He's like, oh, can you do the dishes for me? That'd be a great help. And I go in there, and you remember the kitchen from the movie Seven?
Yeah.
Brad Pitt. Remember when they first go in there and there's like plates and like just junk and just built up food? That's what it looked like.
Oh my God.
So I start washing the dishes, and I get 4 dishes in, and this smell hits me in the face like death. You know? And the sink was full of old food and like cockroaches came flying out. And I was like,
no.
yeah. And I'm looking over at this dude. I'm like, I need to get out of here. Cause I started gagging. I was like, I'm sorry, I gotta go. And I ran out. I didn't collect my money, nothing. I couldn't stay in there. Like it smelled so bad.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. So just kind of watch out if you accept a job from Craigslist and you walk up to the house like that. Be careful.
Oh my God. You know the American Horror Story house is down the street.
From you?
I think it's like 20 blocks. Yeah.
Yeah, I've driven past there after the first season. I went there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, after that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go back to the restaurant. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm just thinking, I went to I was thinking about American Horror Story because I love to listen. I'll play a dead body on that show. I love that show.
I know.
Although right now we're living American Horror Story, but that's another story.
Seriously.
What is a show what is a show that you'd like to be on? A show that you say, oh my God, I gotta be on that show.
There was a few, like The Walking Dead was one of my top picks. When Dexter was on, I really wanted to be on Dexter. Right now, any like American Horror Story show, because I love horror. I love, that genre of filmmaking. I actually started a Ratchet show.
Right.
Yeah, I haven't gone to. There's apparently there is an episode where they have an amputee that isn't really an amputee, so the disabled community was kind of in an uproar over that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I was like, I want to see it for myself because I know that Ryan Murphy usually casts authentically, and
Oh yeah.
like Jamie Brewer and a number of people with disabilities. So who knows what happened there? But I definitely would love to work on a Ryan Murphy, like that Hollywood show that just came out.
Yes.
I would love if they did a second season. I have an idea for a character in a wheelchair to be like, I have this whole scene that I want to write and shoot in that style and kind of like send it to Ryan Murphy. And I don't know.
I think you should. I think.
Yeah, it's another one. When you have ideas and you just write them down and you forget about it.
Hey Ryan, cast this guy. He's amazing. You really are. I mean, I've seen so many of. I mean, the films that you have done, Connections and I.O. and I mean, each of your characters are. I mean, more and more. I saw that the first movie you did won best picture, right?
Best film, yeah.
Yeah. And you worked with Carl Hansen a lot.
I worked with Carl. That was the first time, and then we just kind of stuck together, and because every time we work together, something special happens, And
Yeah.
And Checkmate, I was terrified the whole time we were shooting because I hadn't been on set. I mean, I hadn't had to act. Like when I did that Apple commercial, I was just sitting there, no lines. I was just kind of sitting at a computer.
Yeah.
But then when I got to the set of Checkmate, I had 10 pages of dialogue that I hadn't acted in years prior to that.
And you had, 24 hours to memorize that, huh?
No, we got the script that Saturday morning. As I was, yeah. So, yeah, I'm driving to set, and at every red light, I'm like flipping through another page. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm on every scene. So that was like getting thrown into the lion's den, if you will.
Yeah.
But that like boosted my confidence. So the next time around, the next project that came around, I was like, okay, I just did that. I can do this,
Yeah. Well, it was so good too that you all of your characters were so different in each one of those. It showed your comedy, and then it showed your dramatic side, and it's great. You do have that. You have that. Like I mentioned at the beginning, you have that thing where people want to like look at you.
Thank
You know what I mean?
I like when I like that I've been written different characters. Like Carl asked me, like, what do you want to do next? And I remember one time I was like, I want to be a bad guy. I want to play a bad guy or something.
Yeah.
But I with every character, I try to, I guess I work from the outside in.
Yeah.
So like when I read the character, I like to picture what they're wearing. For me, like a costume or like a prop or something is like really important. So some people work from the inside out, I guess, like their feelings, emotions. But for me, if I could visually see the character, then I become like whatever that person wears, or, if they have, I don't know. It's weird to think about, but
No,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. No, did you make that decision to work that way, or do you feel more comfortable working from the outside in rather than the inside out?
I think I've always done it with not really thinking. I guess it was all subconscious. Like I remember one of the first things I did when I got to LA, I played a nerd in this like Axe commercial, this student spec Axe commercial. And they're like, okay, you're like a nerd and you're really over the top and animated, and they had all these props, and I went to the bathroom and I came out with like this backpack that was like super tight and like these big bottle cap glasses, really cliche over the top. But when you see this thing, like I mean, I became that person, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I guess I've always done it, but now actually, you know, recently I started thinking about that because every time that I read a character on a page, I'm like, okay, what is this guy wearing? And that kind of like adds to how I build the character.
Yeah. Well, I saw you on New Amsterdam, and you were like, it was so good, such a good performance. Now, in regards to that, how did you get into that character? What?
So,
yeah.
Well, first, sorry. When I auditioned for that, it was a self-tape. Funny enough, like first time I booked something off the self-tape. And let me just tell you, that day taping in my apartment was the most frustrating and annoying because at this point I was in Van Nuys.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful day outside. And if anybody in Van Nuys knows, or the Valley, when it's beautiful outside, all you get is private planes flying over your apartment complex all day.
Right. Right.
So, and that day, like, you know, I live with my mom, my grandmother, and my mom is over there dealing with the dogs, yelling at the dogs.
Right.
I'm in the middle of the scene trying to cry, and I'm like, wow, stop talking. And then
the dog goes, ruff, ruff.
yeah, they get quiet, and then another scene happens, and I hear. So it took me, I mean, I think like 6 hours to shoot those scenes. And it actually, in one scene, it's written that I'm flying a plane. And, you know, these are things that just happen. Like I finished the scene and you hear the plane fly over. I think I even kept it in my final cut when I sent it to them because it worked so well.
Right.
And I guess it worked because I got cast.
Now, did you get a call back, or did they just like call you up from that?
I sent it, you know, I set it and forget it.
Yeah.
And then like a few days later, they were like, hey, they pinned you for New Amsterdam. And that's the first time I actually heard that term. I didn't know what something. Okay, call back. And then they're like, okay, so they're gonna fly you up. And I'm like, wait, what? They're gonna fly? Wait, what's going on? I booked it.
Oh my God.
And it's weird because all the stuff that I had done up to that point, it was like it prepared me.
Yeah.
Like usually I would have been terrified, like, oh my God, now I have to perform. But when I got there, I was so ready. Like I got on set and I just, it was like all the training that I had done up to that point, it was like my armor was full 100%.
Right.
But your original question, how that character, I actually spoke with some, I know some high level quads from the gym that I go to, Abilities Recovery Center in Westwood. So just from being around them, I picked up some mannerisms and some personality traits. And I spoke to some people like, was it right before? No, this was after at the Abilities Expo. I think I spoke to him, but I think that was after I shot. But yeah, I mean, I kind of wanted to get into that mindset because I am paralyzed, but I'm paralyzed from the waist down. And that character was a high level quad. So to me, that's like the most terrifying injury, is not being able to move anything like below your neck.
Right.
Like my biggest fear was always like I'm claustrophobic. So my biggest fear was not being able to move. And since that happened to me, I could actually, you know, I could relate at the fear and that claustrophobic nature. I brought all that to when I was shooting that, you know, that character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I remember with the hand and then that whole contraption around the head, and
I'm gonna tell you a little. My acting teacher's probably gonna kill me for telling my secrets.
oh,
But I think it's cool, and maybe somebody will use it. Remember that like that hand that brace they made for my arm?
Yeah.
So they made that specifically for me. It was cool. It's like all carbon fiber. I went to this like specialty what do you call it? Prosthetic office in New York, and the people, they were awesome. But anyway, so in the scene, I have to be in pain because she's screwing in those things into my head, right?
Yeah.
And technically, in real life, it doesn't hurt, you know, because it's a prop on my head.
Yeah.
But I wanted to exude that pain that was coming through the, you know, what was happening. So inside of that prosthetic that they made for me, I was digging my nail into my hand as hard as I could, so I could feel like that pain, you know? So just to make it real for me, I mean, by the end of the day, I had a big old nail mark in my hand. You know? So
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just something that worked for me at that point.
Whatever works, right?
That spot. So that's just like one of my little tricks to feel some pain at that moment.
Right.
Yeah.
What is your biggest joy in life?
It's funny. If you would have asked me this before my accident, I wouldn't have known. I wouldn't have known. But now, post disability, post accident, my biggest joy is when somebody like tells me that like, I helped them in some way. So being able to help somebody and to
You froze. Are you still there? Oh, hold on.
no.
Oh, wait, you're back? Are you back?
Oh,
Wait. Oh, there you are.
oh, my bad.
Okay, you're back. So, your biggest joy is to...
Oh yeah, so I was saying my biggest joy right now is knowing that I helped someone in some way.
Yeah.
You know, I get people in the disabled community that'll message me or come up to me and say, you know, you really helped me. Like, I saw what you did, or something you talked about in an interview that really kind of changed the way I was thinking and put me out of my comfort zone. And just knowing that I'm actually helping someone from doing just, you know, what I love. Because I don't know, I guess I feel like my own guinea pig. Like, I'm testing the waters of different things. So somebody can be like, okay, well, Danny, you know, I was an able-bodied man until 33 years old, and then I became disabled and had to relearn how to do everything. I was like a baby, relearning everything. So now all the experiences I have are new. So for me, showing someone that maybe going through that, they can like follow my path and be like, okay, well, Danny did this. I know it's possible. Let me get out of my comfort zone and take the risk and do it. You know, so.
May I ask what happened at 30?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I was mountain biking, this mountain bike trails at the top of the mountain. I wanted to jump off of this jump or small hill, and I was with my brother-in-law and a good friend of mine from where I worked, and they went down before me. And from my vantage point, I could only see them go down, and they disappeared.
Oh.
And I thought that I was going to jump, and it was going to be like a nice rounded, you know, where I jump and it's round and I have a nice landing.
Yeah.
So I saw them go down slow, and I was like, oh, screw that. I'm going to take off. So I, you know, full force. And when I hit the top of the jump, I looked down, and it's almost like I couldn't see the ground. And I remember going, oh, like in my head, clear as day. I said, oh, poop, you know, and then I hit the ground.
Yeah.
And I blacked out for, I don't know how long it was, but when I came to, I was just staring up at like that blue sky, and instantly I knew something was wrong. Like, I couldn't move anything. And everything at that point was slow motion. Like my brother-in-law, you know, came over, and everything was like a movie to me. You know, he's like, are you okay? And I'm like, no, I can't move. And he's like, you're in shock. Don't worry, you're going to come back. And immediately I said, no, you have to call an ambulance. And mind you, we're on the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
No service. So I see my friend doing that number, you know?
Yeah.
Finally, and he's like, I have service. And, you know, at this point, time is breaking up. So I don't know you know, how long it took for the helicopter to get there. But when it got there, it was like slow motion, those blades like flying over me, and the paramedics rappelling down and putting me into the little gurney and like brought me up into the helicopter. And it's funny because I'm in the helicopter, they're working on me, right?
Yeah.
We take off, and these guys are all like, you know, they're in their survive, helping me survive mode and saving me mode. And I'm like, hey guys. And they look at me, I'm like, this is my first time in a helicopter. And they look at me like, one guy chuckled, but he didn't know if he should laugh. And the other guy's like, got quiet. And then I kind of just blacked out again. And I came to when we got to the hospital. But I don't know. I kind of live life like that. It's not that I like to kind of bring light to situations.
Yeah. Yeah.
I try to be positive, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I saw that commercial that you did for Zappos, the modeling that you did.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of what you were saying about helping others and making others feel comfortable or welcome or better.
Yeah. That fashion to me was, it was always kind of important to me, you know, dressing well and dressing nice and being stylish. Hence my Instagram DG style, Danny Gomez style.
Right.
When I first picked my Instagram, I was trying to be clever, and now I'm like, I should have just went with Danny J. Gomez, you know, because it would have been easy to find. Anyways, you know, but that was one thing. I was so ashamed and embarrassed to be in a wheelchair. Like, I was always, I'm actually like an introvert. You know, people look at me like an extrovert, but really I'm one of those people who are terrified on the inside, but I put on that, hey, you know, especially if I don't know people, but I'm actually really shy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that came from like what I mentioned earlier, that moving around a lot, like that really closed me off. And I guess my defense mechanism was to looking like an extrovert, but you know, on the inside, I was very anxious.
Yeah.
So anyways, after my accident, besides being scared of maneuvering my chair in public, because I did fall out of my chair a few times, it was like the image. And, you know, being in LA, everybody looks at you and judges you for how you dress and how you look. And that is superficial, but I mean, I am in a superficial industry. So when I was going out, I didn't feel confident in myself. I didn't feel confident in my body. None of my clothes looked right.
Yeah.
So when I finally started figuring out how to dress, that really changed my confidence, and that in itself kind of opened doors for me, because I felt myself, and I felt, you know, like I could take on the world, if you will, if I had a clean look to myself. So Zappos really helped.
Yeah.
Because they're kind of, you know, they're helping dress people with disabilities and make them look good.
Well,
I love it.
It seems too that you, over the last so many years, 4 or 5 years, you've gotten this certain power and confidence in yourself. It's like, hey, this is my life. I'm going to live it.
Yes.
To the fullest. And you've seemed to like just break out.
Yeah, it's so crazy. Because like once you just be yourself, like we're all special and unique in our own way, but a lot of us hide it.
Yeah.
And once you show the world who you are, it's like you spread joy. Like sometimes I notice that if I'm in a bad mood, it just spreads. Like that negative force field kind of just spreads to everyone else. And I'm like, why is everybody kind of like in a bad? I don't know. That's just how I feel sometimes. You know what I mean? And when I'm in a good mood and I'm laughing and joking, then everybody around me is kind of feeling the same way. I feel like I'm talking like so self-centered, but
no, I'm so there with you. I'm like so identifying with you in the sense of and that's why I like to, and I think I just do it automatically is most of the time being very positive and
Yeah.
looking at the positive side. And especially now with what's going on in the world, to really take care of yourself and be focused and be on the positive side can spread out to others. And it's so needed right now.
Yeah, I mean, especially right now, you can't smile at someone unless you know how to smize. That I just found out what that term was, even though it's like, you know that term?
No,
You just,
I'm learning it now.
it was Tyra Banks coined it apparently, like an America's Top Model or something years back. Like she's like, you have to learn how to smile with your eyes. And I don't.
Interesting. Okay, now I have to practice. It's like,
Yeah, and I practice like because now we have masks on. I'll smize, and if I don't get a reaction, I'm like, hey, I got to work on my smize a little more.
smiles.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but even now, right? I mean, there's so much negativity. I mean, people are just scared to even wave hello. It's terrible. It's terrible where we're at.
Well, hopefully that's shifting.
Yes.
I could feel a lot of positive stuff happening. So,
Yes.
I had a couple more things. Number one, I saw that you are a dancer as well.
I mean, I before my accident, dancing was like a passion for me, but I was too scared to pursue it. It was one of those regrets, you know, that I never really tried because I used to be a horrible dancer in my like 14, 15. I decided I wanted to make a change because I was always scared to dance with girls, you know. So I asked my sister to teach me how to dance.
Yeah.
And she taught me the basics. And then when I was in high school, it was like the second resurgence of boy bands.
Yeah.
So like NSYNC and Backstreet Boys, and I became obsessed. Like I love it. I love boy band stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to admit it anymore. But watching them, I started learning how to, you know, do more technical stuff. So I started becoming like a Justin Timberlake. That's the way I used to like to dance.
Nice.
So like anybody who was close to me or worked with me, they knew that was my thing. Like I had really good footwork, and that's the one thing that I'm still not 100%. I'm not even 50%. I still like to dance, but it's only for like a hobby now. You know, it's just for fun.
You got to connect with Auntie Angel.
Oh yeah, I know Alti. Yep.
Yeah.
He actually, it's funny because you say that. The first time I met her in person was at an audition, and she was doing her like spin in the wheelchair, and I asked her how to do it. She taught me right there at the audition. So thank you, Alti.
Yeah, I love that.
I'm still perfecting it, but yeah, she definitely taught me that.
What do you want the most at this moment in your life?
Oh, you know what? I'm right now. I'm so obsessed with. I want to get my family out of, you know, like a financial slump, and money isn't the ultimate goal. It's for me making my family happy. Like I want to pay off my debt. I want to be. I don't want them to worry. I don't want my mom and my dad to work anymore. You know, I want to give them a house. I want to give them stability. So,
Yeah.
it's important to me. I feel like I'm about to break through to where I can do that. You know, because my dad works so hard and he lives by himself in New Orleans. So,
Yeah. Well,
it's important to me.
I could see what a good son you are.
I could be better, but I feel like I'm too hard. I'm hard on myself because I'm just like, oh, this year started off so great for a lot of people, and then but in another way, the quarantine has really helped me become a better actor because I've done so many self tapes from home, and I take a weekly acting class, and I've read a few books and like autobiographies, and like I started learning sign language.
This is great.
Yeah, so I'm growing as a person. I'm using this time to grow. So when I come out of quarantine, I'm like, I'm ready. again, it was like when I went to New York to shoot Amsterdam, I was like, I'm ready to do this. You know what I mean? So now my next goal is to book a series regular or something in a film, or like, you know, I have my own project out there where I'm the lead in a show that we're shopping around. So I'm excited. I'm excited for next year for sure.
Love it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for everything you're doing. You're spreading the word, and I mean, I knew nothing about this, nothing about disability before my accident. You know, I was one of those people that if I saw somebody in a wheelchair, I didn't know how to act. You know, so that's another thing that I want to do, is trying to educate the general public, because you know, we're all the same. Like it was a big thing to deal with when I first started going on a wheelchair, because I felt ignored and I felt looked over, and literally, you know, people wouldn't even look at me in the eye because they felt bad for me. And, you know, we just want to be treated the same. So listen up, people.
Listen up.
I like that move.
What? Oh,
I said, I like that.
I learned it from Auntie.
Yes, she's good.